Hi, I'm Lenny Schmidt.
And I'm Robert Robbins. I thought you were going to say, this is not your father's show.
No, I'm going to wait. I was trying to do it right this time. Let's do
Okay.
it. I'm Lenny Schmidt.
And I'm Robert Robbins.
Yeah, and this is not your father's show. Thanks. There we go. We kind of got it right. This is our third attempt at recording this episode, by the way.
I know. It's
we'll see.
Let's see.
Every Monday night we're here talking about raising kids, man. We're talking about raising Generation X, Millennials, Generation Z, LM,
Generation Y. Why do I have to clean my room?
Why
why
can't I come home? Why can't I stay out late? Why? And we talk about raising kids now and how different it is than raising kids when we were kids. The differences, things we're doing differently than maybe our parents did when we were younger as kids. Both of us are fathers. I have two daughters, 20-year-old and a 17-year-old. I'm a stand-up comic. I live in San Fernando Valley, California.
And I have a almost 13-year-old daughter who's literally counting the days on her dry erase board in her room.
Yeah.
And I'm a marriage and family therapist also in the Valley.
Okay. Yeah, and we talk. Here's what we do. He talks about smart stuff about raising kids, and then I say something stupid, and then he corrects me. And that's pretty much the whole show.
Well, most of the stuff you say is pretty funny, so it all slides because they can't tell if you're serious or not. They're
Yeah,
like,
right. That helps.
Your mom didn't let you do that. Not really. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Right. Actually, she did a lot of weird stuff. My mom's very cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it's like if you haven't seen Lenny's comedy show, go out and do that. There are some really funny bits.
Yes.
I don't think it's some of the new stuff, which also has to do with Easter.
Yeah,
so
you can.
That's all. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. You're going to have to go see it.
I highly recommend it. If you're watching this now, you're probably on the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network. Just scroll down, look for stand up. There's a whole bunch of stuff down there. I've got over 300 hours of content on that page. So there you go. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Little plug
so
for me.
last week we had some technical difficulties, but before we get into that, I did want to talk about. Well, first of all, with the technical difficulties, it seems like a couple of clicks and a minute later, we had the camera working. So we apologize for that. And
no, that was the best part. That was all screwed up for the whole episode. It was an hour-long episode. And then when we finished the episode, we tried two things and had the camera working in 30 seconds. So that was hilarious. So,
yeah. Well, hopefully you can see us and hear us well this time.
Much better. So
before we get started, I did want to talk, since this is the last day of November, the No Shave November, the Movember movement, which is there's a couple of organizations. It's the Movember organization and no-shave.org, which benefit men's mental health, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and suicide prevention. So if you haven't had a chance to grow out a beard or start a movement, that's fine. You can visit the page all year long, donate, bring awareness to your community, and know that there's a lot of men out there struggling. And if you have the ability to grow a stash or a beard, right on.
And if you can't,
not that you're less of a man.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, if you can't.
No.
I grow a beard, but there's a blank patch on each side, so it doesn't. So I stay with the goatee most of the time.
You know what? Your beard looks pretty good. You've come back from on the road, and it's like nice.
It's because I don't bring my razor with me when I travel. I shave before I leave, and I come home looking like a caveman. It's pretty much the way it is.
I don't know if you remember Tom and Kennan from where we used to live.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I was really growing my beard out, and it was getting really bushy, and I came out and I was with Nicolette, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, the beard looks great. You look like an evil Santa." I'm like, "Oh, God. Great.
Evil Santa. That's great. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for evil Santa, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. I'm Krampus. Anyway, so after Thanksgiving, there's a few traditions that we had. I wanted to ask you, Lenny, what some of your traditions are, because I know that it's sometimes tough being on the road and then being back. And I know you girls love the holidays. When do you put up Christmas decorations?
Yeah, we have way more traditions now than when I was a kid. Anna runs that. That's Anna's department. She's really this whole Christmas thing. I know what we do. Here's what we do now. if it went perfectly, Anna would decorate for Christmas on November 1st. So she starts decorating for Halloween on her birthday, which is September 26th. And then she stays decorated for Halloween for like a month. And then November 1st, she decorates for Christmas. And we literally do 3, and she won't take anything down until February. I mean, she rides
Nice.
Christmas spirit. I mean, the whole Christmas thing with her is like a 3-month thing. She rides the whole thing out. She starts, Christmas music, the whole deal. She's listening to Christmas music on November 1st. So, but
Nice.
this year was a little different because she's in school and I was traveling and stuff. So we are actually, and this is more closer to what I did when I was a kid. We used to decorate the house for Christmas either Thanksgiving weekend or the night before Thanksgiving. But it usually ended up being Thanksgiving weekend. But now we're going to do it tonight here. We're doing it tonight here at the house. So tonight is our night. We're going to hang out. In fact, I just talked to Anna a second ago because we had to take a break. She had a paper due, and her teacher just emailed her and said, you know what, take an extra 3 days for the paper. So now Anna's got the whole night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're really jazzed. So tonight's going to be a fun night. We're going to do the whole thing, Christmas music, plan, decorate the house. Yeah, there's a little things Anna does. She's really strict about, holiday cookies. Also, here's the other thing Anna does. Man, there's candy all over my house.
Oh my God.
I mean, we have candy bowls, at least 4 in the front room, 1 in the kitchen, 1 here in my room for some reason.
Well, her baking on top of that, she's brought over some amazing holiday delectables when we used to live in the same place.
Yeah,
actually, Anna spent some when you were on the road a couple years ago before the lockdown. She helped us decorate and set up our Christmas tree, and then we found out all the lights were out, so we all went to Target, and then she was baking these amazing cookies. It was awesome. She's a lot of fun to have around the holidays.
Yeah, she's good. She's doing lemon meringue pie this year and some sort of apple peach pie.
That sounds good.
Doing pumpkin bread. She just made a bunch of sugar cookies and gave them to Todd and traded with Todd. Todd made her a pumpkin roll.
Pumpkin roll?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I got.
Do you think she can reverse engineer that recipe?
I don't think. I think Todd's got some sort of weird force field around it that you can't figure out exactly how to make it. But
he told me a little bit of where he started from and then changed a few ingredients. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen out there, I like pumpkin pie with tons of whipped cream. That's how I have my pumpkin pie. That's actually my daughter's favorite pie ever is pumpkin. Any time of the year, if she can get pumpkin pie, that's her thing. So Todd, a friend of ours who I'm sure you've seen on Lenny's comedy show, and he was also the gentleman that my daughter was wearing.
He's got a line of clothing now, right? That Jocelyn was modeling for those pictures from last week. Right.
It's Todd Clothing. Anyway, he makes this pumpkin roll that is so good. It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It really is. I look forward to it all year long. And so hopefully he'll make enough pumpkin rolls for everyone, and he'll guard the recipe as always. So, these are some of the traditions that we have.
Right.
So, and you guys are putting up the lights tonight.
Yeah, we're doing the whole thing tonight. We're doing the tree. We're doing the lights. The whole house will be pretty much decked out by the time we're done tonight. So we're very excited. Nice. Yeah, it'll be good.
What did you do when you were a kid that was different than now? And what do you do now that's different than you were a kid?
My mom was, she's a single mom, so she worked 60 hours a week. So actually, we got to the point where me and my brothers just decorated the house, and my mom wasn't really there. You know what I mean? So I'd put up the tree. My mom was big on tinsel. We use tinsel all the time, which I hate now, which is weird. But we would usually do it the Saturday or the weekend of Thanksgiving. That's the only tradition we really had. And then we always did Christmas morning gifts, not Christmas Eve gifts. Some families bounce back and forth. And one tradition we had for sure was we always went to my Aunt Marge's for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. We did it every single year. And it was cool. It was great because when my dad wasn't around, my Aunt Marge, my Uncle John, they really helped my mom out. They stepped in. They were my godparents. They were a huge help. My uncle carried a load as a second father. He has his own kid. He has his own 3 kids, but then there were the 5 of us, and he would step in and discipline us. And my mom kind of put a lot on him, but he did everything for us. My uncle did. He got me my first car. My uncle's he's great. I still talk to him. My Uncle John's great. My Aunt Marge unfortunately passed away just within the last few weeks, so that just recently happened. and my mom's kind of dealing with that. But we every single holiday, that's the one tradition I remember, was we always went to my aunt and uncle's house, and it was great. We had so much food. We watched football, and that was it. We did it every holiday. Oh, dude, wait! I lost your sound. Hold on.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. What'd you do?
Okay.
You're
I
back.
muted it.
Oh, you're back.
I wanted to say I'm so sorry to hear about your aunt.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, it's hard on my mom right now. They were like, it's hard. It's gonna be a tough Christmas. I just talked to my mom actually 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, it's tough because they lived in the same retirement community in Florida. Mm-hmm. They hung out every day, and then my aunt just passed away. It was pretty quick when it happened, but yeah. So
well, I mean, hopefully she's doing better, and at least it was quick instead of something that was long and drawn out. You know?
Right.
So once again, I'm sorry, but the traditions that you're talking about are really important. I know that for ourselves, we grew up. We were about 40 minutes north of San Francisco in wine country, and then my dad would not have any Christmas music or any decorations until after Thanksgiving. And my mom was kind of on the same page, and I was just rearing for it. I was like, come on. And the day after Thanksgiving, we would go to San Francisco. We'd go to Ghirardelli Square, see the lighting of the tree. We'd get a pretzel and look around Union Square and take the cable cars. It was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of great memories with that to really welcome in Christmas. And then the one thing we did before Thanksgiving, though, because it took forever, was lighting the house, the exterior lights. And oh my gosh.
I never got into that, man. That's got to be a
really
ridiculous amount of work.
It really is, especially when, I mean, we grew up, my family built our house on like 5 acres where there was nothing in the country. So the house, you know, it goes up to like 3 levels on the south side by the pasture. And so hanging these lights, you know, and it was like you hammer in a nail and bend the nail and you hook it. And if one bulb goes out, they're all gone. And my dad being the meticulous military man that he was, is we got to test every single bulb, you know, and it's like, it was fun. You know, it was cold and tiring, but it was a lot of fun. And I missed that recently at our place now. Jocelyn and she helped hang all the lights around all 3 stories, which is great.
Oh, you decorated the whole outside of your townhouse there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
We got the, like all around the rim, which was really tough and really high up. And I didn't have her on the ladder or anything. And the interesting thing, because in Southern California, there's a lot of stucco, you know, it weathers pretty well versus like up north, there's a lot of wood panel houses. But it's hard to like nail in or get screws into stucco. So a hack that I saw was using a glue gun. So you use a glue gun and you just, you know, beat it up and then stick it on, which is great. So that seemed to work out pretty well. We got solar lights. So that's less on the electric bill, and they just turn on automatically.
Solar Christmas lights, you mean?
Yeah.
At least in my voice. Solar Christmas lights, you mean? So like when the sun goes down, they automatically kick on?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I didn't know they had that. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and it's a little tiny panel. I don't have one nearby, but it's a little tiny panel that we set out in the sun. And we're in Santa Clarita, so we get a lot of sun.
Sun Central. Yeah, you're Sun Central.
I really am. But I found out that every strand uses between $2 and $15 of electricity, depending on the length, for iridescent lights. So we switched everything to LED. Outside is all solar, and actually around Jocelyn's her sliding glass door in her bedroom and her window all have those solar LED lights too. So I don't have to worry about like, did you turn the lights off? So that's one of the new traditions that we have is hanging.
So you don't have any, you don't have like a Griswold explosion happening at your house.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We actually just watched that the other day.
Oh, I love that.
Christmas week. It's a great one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Todd. Well, why is the floor all wet? Yeah, it's a good one. So some of those traditions that are really important to families, especially now, the reason they're important is because you're carrying on things like Lenny, as you were saying with your family and those memories and what you implement with your kids. And I know that, in Christmas Vacation and the movie Christmas Story, they talk about like, how did you, weather through all the holidays? And he's like, I had a lot of help from Jack Daniels. Or, sometimes we had the father that was a little bit more rigid and staunch, and then ends up giving his kid the one thing he wanted most. But you also mentioned that you have a tradition getting an ornament or something.
Oh yeah, every year Anna's the best, man. Every year Anna buys me a new Christmas ornament.
Oh, that's
So
great.
as time goes by, I get a bunch of these ornaments. So we have to go out today. That's one thing we're doing. We're going to Target today, and she's funny. She's got all these memories. She remembers all these. She remembers them all, man. These traditions and stuff. So we're going to go get the ornament tonight, so we can hang it on the tree tonight when we decorate the tree.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
everyone out there, when you have these traditions or you implement new ones, for ourselves, we do midnight mass. And then, except when Jocelyn was little, we didn't do that. It was a little late for her. Do midnight mass because my family's 500 miles north. We don't get a chance to see them for the holidays so much, which is kind of tough. But we would open presents on Christmas. I believe you do the same thing.
yeah, we do Christmas Day.
Yeah, we had one time we were up north, and my brother and his family, they have like 3 Christmases. They're not divorced or anything. It's just with their kids. They have Christmas with my folks, grandma and grandpa, and they open their gifts Christmas Eve. Then the next day they open their presents at their house, and then after that they go to my sister-in-law's sister's house, and then they open more presents. And I'm like, oh my God. That's their choice. So last time we were there a few years ago for Christmas, they're opening all their gifts. And Nicolette's looking at me and like, oh, it's kind of, Jocelyn's seen her cousins open the gifts. And we said, you get one gift at midnight for Christmas.
Right.
So we're like, well, and then the boys are like, why didn't you get anything for Christmas? Didn't Santa, and it's like, oh my gosh.
What? Why would they say something like that?
Well, they don't have a filter. Well, the oldest one doesn't have a filter.
How old is he?
And then he is 11 now. So this is when he was 7 or 8.
Right.
And then my sister-in-law was really hinting like, aren't you going to let her open gifts? And I'm like,
Oh, your sister-in-law is helping. That's great. Jocelyn didn't get gifts because Santa doesn't like her, right, Robert? And you're like,
yeah. So we brought out the gifts, which we saved a couple of them. But then Christmas morning, we all wake up at my folks' house, and it's like, here's the rest of them.
Right.
And it wasn't as big. And I'll never do that again. Christmas morning is where it's at. And
yeah, I think so. Man, there's still something about that magic about getting up when you're a kid and going out and seeing the tree all filled with gifts.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do the thing like now, the kids are older, so as the week goes by or as the month goes by, there'll be 1 or 2 gifts under the tree. There'll be a couple of things. But honestly, man, I still keep everything in my closet to the night before.
Oh my
and
God. So
I wrap everything up the night before, or I wrap it all and I get it in the closet and I leave it there. But I load up the tree the night before so that they get up the next morning. There's something about seeing that Christmas morning picture of the tree with gifts everywhere that I just remember that as a kid was so impressive. It was so powerful.
Yeah, it's magical. Yeah. Even if there was nothing in there. I remember the movie Black Widow, right? That's on Disney Plus with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
She's talking about the memories from Christmas, not to spoil the movie or anything, but she's talking about how there were gifts and she knew all the boxes were empty. They were just wrapped. It was a show, because they were implants in America. But she enjoyed just seeing them, knowing that they're, regardless of them being empty. There's something special about the feeling of Christmas. And I recently read an article where parents that are having to tell their kids that, Santa is not the jolly old man that you see in movies. It's more of the spirit of Christmas. And there was at one time a St. Nicholas, and Santa Claus and some of the stories that go back pretty far.
Right.
Passing it on is saying, now that you're old enough, you can understand that there is a Santa Claus, and you are one of the Santa Clauses that are carrying the spirit of Christmas. You have become old enough to understand that you have to be the Santa. There is a Santa Claus in everyone
Yeah.
that gives joy to everyone else.
Yeah, that's a great way to handle it. Santa Claus it's a spirit, it's an idea, it's a theme. It's, you know what I mean, it's that. You know, it's not a real person. You know, it's not like there's one Santa Claus. The idea of Santa Claus is carried on through everybody. Yeah, it was a huge. I love that idea. That's very cool. I have a brother who raises his kids, and they don't believe in Santa Claus or Christmas at all. They're not Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not. You know, they don't. They're not a religion. It's not a religious thing. To them, they said to him, it's a commercial marketing thing. He goes, he thinks Christmas is a marketed holiday that's made up by capitalists, and it's shoved down everybody's throats, and everybody buys all these gifts, and so, you know, the society thrives on this vision, and businesses make all this money. So his theory was to tell his kids there's no Santa Claus early on, and on Christmas they just play games and hang out as a family, and then they have a pseudo Christmas in January where the kids get gifts in January. And I said, I go, yeah, but you're still spending money on gifts then. How are you defeating capitalism if you're buying the gifts just a month later? And he's like, well, it's just the idea. I go, well, then you're almost feeding the same opposite of the idea. I don't understand the theory. I didn't understand the theory. You know what I really didn't understand? I always thought it was cool to tell a kid that there's Santa Claus. You know, when you're a little kid, they ride that magic of Santa Claus for a long time. You know, I remember when my brothers still believed there was a Santa Claus. And I used to do a bit about it. I should bring it back. I used to do a bit about it. I hated when my brothers found out there was no Santa Claus. You remember the moment when you found out? Remember the moment as a kid? I remember the moment when I was a kid when I realized there was no Santa Claus, but I hadn't been told yet. So you kind of ride the lie out for a while. You're afraid that the gifts are going to disappear as a kid, you know what I mean? So I think there's something magical as a kid to think that there's really a Santa Claus for years. And to this day, I still tell my kids there's a real Santa Claus. They are, you know, they always go, well, Santa's not real. I go, no, he is. He's totally. I tell my kids, we want you to believe there's no. We reverse it. We tell you there's no Santa Claus so that you won't go looking for him. So it's a big lie, but he's really there. And so
I mean, but there's truth. I love the poem. Yes, Virginia, there really is a Santa Claus. Yeah, I love that one. And actually, Jocelyn, last year she started having questions, even at her age, and with. I think any kid at school that says there is no Santa Claus, they're jerks. You know, just because your family says there isn't one doesn't mean you should spoil an idea of fun or magic or imagination for someone else because you're miserable about it. And Jocelyn still kind of wonders and looks, you know, which is nice. She has a realistic sense, but she's still very curious. Right. And the one thing she won't do is she's like, I'm not going to sit on the lap of a mall Santa. I'm just not doing that. I'm like, I have no problem with that.
Well, so, she's a little old for that now. You know what I mean? She's
even old. As a kid, she never wanted to. She was like,
really?
Yeah.
Like even, really? You know, I got a couple pictures of Lily crying on Santa's lap. It's the best.
Yeah, she was like, no, I don't want to. She's like, no. She knew like it's some guy. No matter how good the Santa looked in real beard and everything, she's like, no. And she believed in Santa and she liked it. And she loves all the, you know, Christmas movies that we go down the list. But she's like, no. And, you know, it's interesting. We, a few years ago, when we were up north, we also spent time with one of my close friends and his family. He's another doctor up there. And he was asking me before, because his daughters are the same age. One's a little older, one's a little younger than Jocelyn. And said, does she believe or what's going on? And I said, yeah, she still believes. And he's like, okay. So we briefed them, like, don't spoil anything. Right. And I thought that was really important because he was also the same kid I was with in elementary school when this other kid kept saying, like, there is no Santa, you know? Right. So it's interesting how everything comes back around. But I think that it's important to keep that feeling of Christmas. And back to your brother, it's kind of like, it reminds me of people that say, okay, here's a day that we're not going to use gas or drive cars, and whether it's for Earth Day or whatever. So everyone fills up the gas the day before or the day after or something, it
Right.
doesn't really make a dent, or we're going to,
Yeah. Right. That's the same. Exactly. It's the exact same thing. Right. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The big gas holiday, that gas out or whatever they do.
Hmm.
You know, the
Everyone
big
filled up
protest.
before.
I go, that's great. And then everybody fills up on Friday. I go, oh, good. Well, Friday sales are higher than they ever have been. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of statement you're making there exactly.
Yeah. And the great thing about America and freedom is it's your choice. If you want to participate in Christmas or the commercialism, if you want to call it that,
Right.
you can. If you don't, then you don't have to. And it's not always about the gifts. Some people are raising their kids with making things bigger, and like the Harry Potter kid, Dudley.
Yeah.
He's like 37. Last year I had whatever number of gifts for his birthday.
Right.
You're taking the idea of Christmas out.
Right.
And it's usually something special. But I do like watching those car commercials like, oh my God, you got a car for Christmas morning.
Those are stupid. Nobody gets a car for Christmas. I really hate those
Actually,
commercials.
my ex-girlfriend, for her daughter, she got her a Mercedes for Christmas morning, like with a
good for her.
big red bow. And we were like, and then guess what happened? Her son was irate. Like, how come she gets a car for Christmas? And he's like, then the whole rest of the day was arguing about why he doesn't get a car.
Yeah, that seems a little difficult, man. Talk about dealing with that headache. Well, getting back to what we were saying earlier, you could like Chris, say what you want about Christmas and capitalism and marketing and selling, Amazon and selling things. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of commercialism to Christmas. It's obvious. It's not going to go away. Mm-hmm. It's shoved down our throats. But Christmas and Santa Claus and the whole idea of the holiday, if you teach it right to your kids, like when you mentioned to me, what are the traditions I remember? The biggest one is going to my aunt's house. That's something I remember. That's a family thing. That's family. That's something that stands out in my head. So if you teach your kids that, or you at least you teach them that, but you show them that in the holiday. If the holiday is really more about, like, even here at the house, the tradition isn't opening the gifts. That's the last thing the kids will say. The tradition is getting a new ornament, making Christmas cookies, all these things that we do together as a family. It really isn't about the gifts or how much you get. It's really about so much stuff we do. And maybe part of that is because of, for us, part of it is the fact that I was divorced and they lived in Chicago and I traveled, and I still travel a lot. So when I'm gone, I'm gone a lot. So when I'm home for that week, we have something every single day that we do all week long. That's a normal tradition. Like, we've got to go to the tree farm. Even though we don't buy a Christmas tree, we have a fake tree that's lit, We don't buy a fresh tree every year anymore. But we still go to the Christmas, we still go to the Tapia Brothers. It's cool to walk around, and, it's, even though there's no snow, like I grew up in the Midwest where there was snow and stuff. But, there's little traditions we have, and all our traditions revolve around being together as a family. That's one thing I can say I'm really happy about. I'm happy it worked out that way with my kids. They're good about that, and that's what they believe in too. And that's what I believe in. And I think that's the best part about, obviously, that's the hokey part about Christmas. But if you do it right, your kids can learn that. They can learn from that.
Absolutely. And you're teaching your kids, and this has to do with last week when we were talking about it. It's the time you spend with your kids.
Right.
Now, there's a whole bunch of time. Let's take, for example, Disneyland dad and divorce. Okay. So let's say, just for example, for argument's sake, a mom has their child or children for every week, and every other weekend the dad has the kids, right? So the dad is known as the Disneyland dad. When he gets the kids, it's like, okay, here's an adventure. Let's go on an adventure. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to Six Flags. Let's do this. Let's do that. So it's always fun. Let's go to the movies. Let's see this new movie that you wanted to see that just came out. It's the fun things. What we don't realize is that the parent that's with the kid, 95% of the time, it's like, did you do your homework? Did you brush your teeth? Did you shower? Did you put on deodorant? Did you do all of your homework plus the report you had to do? Did you make your lunch? Did you grab your lunch? Are you wearing clean socks and clean underwear? It's all those things. and including dentist appointment and doctor's appointments, to make sure their kid is at a level which is homeostasis. They're not the smelly kid. They have good hygiene. They're getting their grades done. They're taking them to soccer practice. And the kid sees 80% of that time, 90% of that time with that parent as reminders and work and chores. So even though the parent is spending more time with them, it's not always quality time. It's important time, but it's not putting in those memories of decorating a tree, having Thanksgiving. I'm fortunate enough that my daughter loves watching football with me, and hockey too. And you have hockey with your girls, right? Or which one likes hockey? Both of them?
Yeah, they both like hockey. They'll watch hockey
Okay.
for sure.
All right. So it's some of those things, as long as you're spending that quality time, that they feel they have guidance in a way that's not reminding them of here's all your responsibilities and chores, but actually talking to you about whatever's going on in school and different trends that are happening. So with those traditions and looking forward to them, it's important to set time aside. Yes, it's work to set up a Christmas tree. It's work to string lights. It's work to do all that. But if you're doing it with your kid.
Okay.
With your kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They just pop out of nowhere.
Here comes a tradition. This is me slapping Lily upside the head because she yelled when I was taping a show. By slapping, I mean yelling. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a different tradition that we've broken. I don't know about your mom, but my mom, if I got out of line, it was like right upside the head. That's a talk for another episode. Yeah, my mom beat the crap out of me all the time. So I was never even a debate. But let's wrap this up, man. I think, this is really great to talk about the traditions of the holidays and how to teach how to push those forward with your kids and to build new traditions with your kids. And I think the best ones, obviously, are the ones that come of just the time you spend together. And that's one of the, like, this week this is my favorite week of the year. It is. I mean, Christmas is a good week too, but I love this week more because when I was traveling and when the kids lived in Chicago, I had the kids for Thanksgiving and she had them for Christmas. Nice.
So this was the week where we had the whole week and we had stuff together. So every day, we have something else that we're doing together. So this week is really important to me, and it can be important for your kids too. And it is, because they're waiting for me now. They're like, Dad, what are you doing? Finish up. Let's go. We got to do, we got to go get the Christmas stuff. So there's that.
Of course. So I agree with you. I urge everyone out there, make some time, make some new traditions. I know things are still tough because of the way our society is right now, but see what you could do. Be creative, decorate the tree, spend time with them is the most important part.
Right.
And don't put too much emphasis on what's under the tree. It's what's
stuff
around the tree.
Yeah, don't do that. Also, like the video. Please do this a favor. Like the video. Share the video with your friends. Subscribe to Lenny Schmidt's Comedy Network. Robert and I are here every Monday night at 6 o'clock talking about all things about kids, raising kids, and the things we're going through now, and the differences we are dealing with now than when we were kids. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's an awesome show. You should watch it every Monday.
Every Monday. And all right.
All right, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Questions, comments,
it's after Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and we'll see you.
And Merry Christmas.
And
Merry
also,
Christmas.
Look above us there. You have any questions or comments, feel free to email us, and we will be more than happy to discuss any questions or comments you have, and we'll talk about them here on the show. Also, we'll be back live. I believe we'll be back live a week from today, if we're still going to do that. Right? We're going to do that. So the first December 7th, we'll be back live next week, so you can check us out next week live. And we'll try to get our tech issues fixed ahead of time that time. All right, man.
Definitely.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.